was a police officer in Italy, and this was in the early 90s, and his name was Mauro, Mauro, and so one of the things that the Italian police force does is they sponsor like any athletic events. So what they do is, if you want to do track and field, pentathlons, anything like that, if you're a professional swimmer, the Italian police force, they want the fittest of the fit. They want the top of the line. They're willing to pay for that. And so Mauro loves doing this, and he actually does pentathlons. He does horseback riding, archery, swimming, running, and I think cycling. He does all of this crazy stuff, and he loves it. He has a wife, he's got 3 kids at home, and he's doing really well for himself. And he sees that in Morocco, there's an event coming up, and it is an ultramarathon. So it's over 120 kilometers in the desert. It takes 6 days to run. And Mauro, this lovely police officer, says, I am going to do this. I'm going to do that. And so he goes. And his wife is like, okay, the worst he's going to get is a sunburn. Mauro, the police officer, has this trip paid for. He's like living large. He's very excited that he gets to do this. And he's just a really athletic guy anyways. Like, who doesn't want to run 120 kilometers in the desert? It is kind of savage. It is. Mauro arrives in Morocco, and there's 79 other people. He's one of 80 people participating. The way that this race is set up is that they have checkpoints each day that they reach. Every person has a backpack with about 20 pounds of supplies. So like 11 kilograms or so they're carrying on their backs, including a liter of water, some like MRE type like military rationed food that's dehydrated that you add water to, sleeping bag, and then a couple of other little things. Nobody wants to run in the desert. That's what it seems like. But there's apparently 80 people that are like, let's run in the desert. Let's run 120 kilometers in the desert. Yeah, I don't know if you could pay me to do that. But the first few days, he's doing incredible. He's doing so well with this. He's got like a little bit of a tan complexion, so he's not affected as much as some of the paler runners who are really suffering from like sunburns and that sort of thing. And he's doing good. By the 3rd day, he's in like the top 10 racers. By the 4th day, he's in 7th place. He had trained for this, obviously. He was running for, 20 kilometers a day or something like that. Actually, I'm gonna pull up, the race is 155 miles, so 250 kilometers. I just wanted to, like, verify that. It wasn't split equally between each day. Some days you're running more than others, but yeah. So by day 4, though, he's in, like, 7th place. He's doing amazing. He's running midday, and a desert sandstorm kicks up, and he sees in the distance a sand dune start to change shape. It starts swirling and swirling until he realizes that this is not just a mild storm. This is something he's getting trapped in. Now, they had all been informed that there is a risk of sandstorms. You're running in the Sahara Desert. But, if you get caught in that, just stay in place. Mauro, being stubborn, being in 7th place, and knowing that he is capable of 1st place, makes a decision. And he decides that he's going to keep running. He's going to keep walking. And so that's what he does. He goes. And for 4 hours, Mauro walks and jogs and runs in this sandstorm until he feels his skin is cut up, his eyes are cut up. He is in so much pain. He finds a little shrub. He can hardly see anything, but he finds a little shrub after 4 hours of jogging, and he just huddles down in the shade of this and waits for the storm to pass. He falls asleep there. It got dark. The sandstorm lasted 8 hours, and it lasted into the nightfall, where he is now sleeping. Okay? This man, 4 hours he continued to walk, okay? When he woke up in the morning, the entire landscape was transformed from the sandstorm, from all of this, from the elements, and he has no idea where he is. He can't recognize it. So he's woken up on day 5 of a 6-day race and doesn't know where the hell he is. He looks in his pack to see what he has. He has a sleeping bag on him. He has a knife. He has a compass. He has, I think, 1 or 2 more food rations. But he was supposed to hit a checkpoint yesterday, and he never reached that checkpoint. And he had half a liter of water left. Half a liter. So this guy does what any sane person would do. He continues to walk. Back at the race, there's another racer that had been overtaken by Mauro, who is continuing his race. And when he gets to the next checkpoint, this other racer realizes, though, wait, that Italian man who's faster than me is not in front of me right now. And so he alerts officials. He says, something ain't right. At this checkpoint, there's supposed to be an Italian man named Mauro, and he's not here. And they take helicopters out, and I think it was 2 or 3 helicopters. They start looking for him. Mauro does what his grandfather has taught him to do in survival situations, though. And he only has half a liter of water. He has to pee. He pees into this water bottle to save it. You know, he wants to have as much fluid coming back into his system as possible, and he knows that he doesn't have a day out here. So temperatures in the Sahara can reach up to 50 degrees Celsius in the middle of the day. So that's, I think it's like 140 Fahrenheit or something really demented like that. Like 50 degrees Celsius. Like, insane. I can't even, like, 30 degrees is a hot day for me. So 20 degrees more than that is insane. I think he made the right choice in peeing in his water bottle. And while he's out there, he sees a helicopter. He says that you can basically see the helmet, that this helicopter is so close. And he's just like, ah! The helicopter isn't looking in the right area, and the helicopter flies off without seeing Mauro. So, this is day 5. Mauro's like, I'm good. I'm not gonna be disappointed. I'm fine. Life is okay. And he does what he needs to do. He continues to drink what he has, and he's just gonna keep walking. He remembered that one of the checkpoints was gonna be in between a couple of mountain peaks, and he's just hoping that some of the dunes might end up being these. He continues in the desert for a few more days. You know, sleeping out in the elements one day. He loses his shoes, and, you know, he's using his hat or his shirt to try to, like, keep him warm and keep his skin out of the sun. He's getting leathery by this point, and he sees something really, really amazing. So the Muslim population of Morocco, they have these shrines that are called marabouts, and it's kind of like you know, like a gazebo. It's kind of like a large gazebo with columns, and it's really ornate. And he sees this, and he's like, oh! He beelines straight for it, because a structure means that there's people, right? That's what this means. No, it's like deserted. It's full of sand from the sandstorm. It is so full of sand that when he walks into it, he can touch the ceiling. He's gained that much height in sand. He's like, Okay. It also appears as though there's some sort of tomb here from a religious figure, maybe. But he's like, okay, I'm gonna stay here. He does what any Italian man is gonna do. He takes the flag, the Italian flag that he keeps, and he puts it outside of the marabout. He hunkers down and, he spends a day there. He makes like a pea MRE shake. So the MREs, you have to add water, but he's just adding his urine to the MRE and shaking it up and eating it. Horrifying. But he's doing what he can to survive. He doesn't know that his wife has been alerted that he's missing and that his brother-in-law has flown from Italy to Morocco and is part of the search crews looking for him. And there are dozens and dozens of people that are seeking his safe return. It's like a haven for him, though. There's shade, there's, protection from the elements and whatnot. Mauro gets super depressed. He decides to, write a note on the wall to his family. I'm trying to come home. Like, I love you guys. I'll miss you. Like, please remember me. Just scrawling what he wants to say to them. He gets really tired, though. He doesn't have any food left after this last PMRE that he eats. And he knows that he's probably going to die of starvation. So he makes a decision that it wasn't easy for him to come to. But he decided that he was going to take his own life. And so he took the knife that he had and he sliced his wrists straight down. Please don't do this at home. Don't do it. And he passed out. He fell asleep, basically. He woke up, though. By whatever there is in the world, he woke up. His blood was so thick from his dehydration. It was so coagulated that even slitting his wrists deeply, he didn't bleed out. And Mauro's like, this is a sign that I have to keep living. He's like, what can I freaking do? He starts looking through there and he finds a couple of bird eggs. And he's like, okay, I'll eat the bird eggs. And he keeps looking throughout this marabout and he hears bats. He makes this decision when he sees these bats. He's like, I'm tired of the PMREs. I'm out of the PMREs. And he takes the bats and he breaks their heads off and he sucks them. He sucks them dry. The blood is water for him. There's some sort of nutrition. Once again, an incredible thing happens and he can hear a helicopter. And he runs outside of the marabout and he can see a helicopter this time. He has the flag on the ground and he's waving to get their attention. He realizes that he can't and he sets his sleeping bag and his backpack on fire to alert them. The smoke starts. Another sandstorm happens. And it smothers the smoke and it smothers the fire before the helicopter is able to see him. He was so close. He was so close. He is like, despite the self-harm, despite having to drink his own urine, and despite these bats, he sets his supplies on fire, and the desert said, this poor guy is like, I can't stay in the marabout anymore. I sucked all the bat go-gurts. My supplies are gone. All of this. And he heads out on a walk again. And again, he just has his liter of pee. Yeah. And so this sandstorm also lasts a few hours. But he's got nothing to lose at this rate. There's nothing. He can't lose anymore. So he heads out with his liter of pee and he thinks, okay, they said that the checkpoint would be in between a couple of mountains. And that, in the distance, he does think that he sees two mountain peaks. And so he's like, heck yeah, I'm gonna go there. And so Mauro describes that he went from like being a human to being part of the desert. He moved like an animal. He was very, very feral. He said that he could hear the bugs moving under the sand, and he's picking at them and eating them. Any beetles that he can find, snakes, he's very, very hyper aware of this. And after a couple of more nights of this exploration, he walks into what everybody thinks of when they think of the desert. He finds this gorgeous oasis in the distance, and he can see this beautiful clear pond of water, and he's like, oh my gosh. And he uses the energy he can. He gets there as quickly as he can, and he falls into it. His whole body falls into this puddle, this pond of water, and he just starts slurping it up. But he can't. Due to this dehydration, his throat is so dry it won't even accept the water. So he has to take these little tiny sips, and he's just sitting in there. And he's like, wow. Luckily, this desert oasis is not a mirage. He's not eating sand. Don't worry, guys. I was also worried that he would be drinking sand. But he's not, because he is hella. He's just that good. So the police are still looking for him. He's not, like, super, like, aware of this, but he's kind of hoping that, like, his wife or whoever is looking for him. He makes kind of, like, this pact with himself that, you know, he's found this water. He's gonna get out of there. He's an athlete. He believes that he can get out of this some way, somehow. And while he's hanging out in this pond, cooling down, drinking up some much-needed water, he sees camel droppings. And he goes, okay, so there's been a camel nearby. And he realizes there's a human footprint in some of the dung, in some of the droppings that this camel had left. And he gets up and he follows these for a couple of hours, and he eventually finds a young woman, 15 years old, with a camel. And he starts like, he's like trying to get her attention. This girl is terrified. This girl is like, I don't know who this leather creature from the depths of the desert are. She's terrified, and she starts running. She starts running away from him. She's like full on like making ground against him, and he's following. Yeah. So this girl, she didn't have camels. She had goats with her. But there was still some sort of dropping that he believed were camel. I don't know. Maybe I just misremembered the camel part. But she's like a young goat herd, and he follows her, and eventually he makes it to a human settlement. And these are the nomadic people of North Africa. The French call them Berbers. Some people call them Amazigh. But they're like the nomadic natives of North Africa. They exist in Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, even some into Egypt, some into Mali. They are pretty widespread. He looked terrifying to these people, but the shepherd ladies, they're like getting him goat's milk and stuff. He has gone so far off track. It's not even funny. So there were only women in this encampment. The men were out on some sort of excursion. So they were all a little bit unsettled by this strange man. He eventually was taken by the police. These women had alerted people that there's some strange man out here in the desert. He is blindfolded, put into a police vehicle, and driven away. But he got his milk, he got some stuff. These ladies saved him. Okay? Right. But he's currently blindfolded in the back of a police vehicle. He's horrified. He's unblindfolded. and he's in an interrogation room. These people who are talking to him, they're speaking in Arabic. They don't know anything about him. They believe that he is a spy. He has crossed the border. He had gone 290 kilometers off track. He had left Morocco and he had entered Algeria, and he was currently being detained by Algerian police. When he tells these, or not just police, but police and military, when he tells these people, you know, this, my name is Mauro, all of this, they're like, oh my god, we're so sorry, we assumed you were a spy, dude. And, you know, they immediately get him medical care. He had gone, like I said, 181 miles off track into a different country, and he had to go to the hospital, and he had lost 35 pounds, so 16 kilograms. He had eye damage from the sandstorm, liver damage from drinking his own urine, and it took him months in the hospital to recover at all. He was only able to have liquids and soups and just a little bit at a time. And that is the survival story of Mauro. So, the aftermath of what had happened, Mauro lives. His wife is amazed and so happy that he has lived. She's really upset, but she's happy that he's alive. And the coordinator from the race actually attempts to sue Mauro, claiming that he had lied to get attention. And obviously that was lost. There were people that had recreated Mauro's journey, and they found wrappers, they found like his shoes, they found an Italian flag and charcoal writings on the wall in a marabout. They were like, no, I think he lived. I don't think that this man faked liver damage just to get attention. But 4 years after he had completed this race, 11 days he survived alone in the desert. And 4 years later, he said to his wife, he said, honey, I want to do that ultramarathon again. And his wife said, honey, I'd like a divorce. And they divorced, because why the hell would you do that again? But he did go on to continue to run it. He said that it was such an incredible experience for him, and just like becoming part of the desert, like a creature of the desert, changed his life, and he had to do that. I think when you go through something like that, you get like a deeper appreciation for life, and you want to be in that scenario where you had that deep appreciation. Nowadays, the race doesn't have just 80 participants. It has over 1,000 people each year come out, and luckily it's a lot more well marked than it used to be, but the temperatures are still 50 degrees Celsius. It's still insane. But yeah, the end.